I would add to that that we're all hurting based on it, even people who think they're not. And, to me, that's my perspective on it. Like, I believe that, the consequences of the racialization that has occurred in this country extend far beyond anything that anyone's talking about. Um, you know, um, and I think that there's a lot of fear in discovering those
Mm,
consequences because they're
sure.
substantial. They cut to the core of our humanity.
Mm,
And I don't think a lot of people want to delve into those depths for any reason, much less a reason that might uncover something that they don't want to discover
yeah, something that they don't want to believe is true about themselves.
or about the world
Yeah.
around them. I think it's even.
Oh,
I think.
yeah.
I think it's like, to be honest, I think it's more about the boogeyman of white supremacy, right? Like there's this thing, out there. Oh,
Mm,
why can't anyone explain it? Why can't anyone, this and that and blah 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 and is it unverifiable and all this stuff, right? And
mm,
there's a lot of that, like, I don't want to believe that there's something out there that's having any kind of influence over me that I'm uh, because I'm an individual and I'm a free man and and that's not the way that I live. And I earned everything I got and nothing helped me
mm.
and nobody, I earned this and I deserve this and I'm entitled to this. And, so there is that individual identity part, but I think that there's also this, like, I want to make sure that nobody questions, like, uh, my power as an individual. Um, what do you think about that?
I think that the only thing I would have a challenge to is the concept of power. I think the word that I would use in place of it, if I were explaining it, would be the word agency. And the
I knew
reason
you were going
is
to say
because
that.
power, what was that?
Just confirming that I predicted you were going to say
Yeah,
that.
tell me why. Tell me why.
I mean, well, first of all, I saw your body language when I said the word power. So I knew
Yeah.
that you didn't like it. And the next logical reason for why you wouldn't have liked it is because you would want me to think about the person I'm talking about, right? Like, because I was talking about a certain person from a certain vantage point, really. And so, like, that person, you would want me to be introspective of talking about instead of talking about something that's outwardly on them, right?
I think
Agency
that's
comes from
not,
within, right?
no,
No.
not
So
in
what
my
is it then?
opinion.
Tell me.
Yes. So my approach to this is not very emotional in that regard. So I think that power has an emotion connotation and agency does not. And
How
so
so?
for me, well, this is me as a person, as an individual, just my bias and the way I look at things. I think when we use the word power, there's almost like a grandiosity to it, is the way it feels. It feels like a completely unhumble word. And maybe this is just splitting hairs or it's like a synonym that I should just let go of. But my experience, like thinking about the concept of agency from the point of view of philosophy and also from just the point of view of neuroscience, the stuff that I love to read, I think that power has this mistaken notion that we have all the free will that we think we do, is kind of the way I think about it. And so I just don't like the word because I think it gives people the mistaken impression that they have all this emotional energy that can quote unquote give them an extra spicy agency that is not true, right? I'm very much of the kind of determinist thought process where it's like, you really don't have that kind of impact on the world that you think you do. And especially in your own life, like, because especially because I grew up in like a recovery home, like an AA home, I very much grew up with the concept of quote unquote powerlessness in the sense that, like, you really don't have any power, especially if you're being humble about like the fact that almost everything that happens outside of you. And it happens in such a way that, to the extent that your unique differences, whatever they may be, maybe shift the way the outside world reacts to you, the trillions and trillions of things that have happened before you even got here on this earth, right? The trillions of events, people living and dying in wars and species evolving, like all that stuff is out of your control. And so power to me has this really weird, I think it's a weird connotation of like emotional security and like um capacity to understand the world in such a way that you impact it because you understand things well enough. And none of us, in my opinion, understand shit about how the world works, in my opinion. So that's why I like agency, because agency has like a softer tone to it. And I think it's a more humble word than power, personally speaking.
Okay, so it is a tone thing though. Like, I mean, I don't
Yeah.
think it's actually a meaning thing, right? Because power, I mean, power has a definition, you know, and so it just means to like be able to achieve an outcome, like be able to achieve a desired outcome. That's what it means. So like, you know, like within limited context, like you said, right? People can achieve limited outcomes that they set out to achieve. You know, we that's like literally how we exist. You know, we set goals for ourselves. We then like work toward those goals. That's an exhibition of power. It doesn't have to be emotional. So like, at least the way that I'm using it, I'm not putting any kind of emotion on it. I'm just simply saying, you know, the ability to, you know, like for instance, the ability to inculcate an entire country into a white supremacist ideology and create an entire system based on that for and perpetuate it for generations, right? That's like an intention that was set out, and then like people achieved it, you know, like and so, um, you know, that's just an exhibition of power, just by definition, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
so, but I guess all I was saying is, um, well, I can't remember how this started actually, but that was an interesting little tangent that we went on there. But I like agency too. Agency works as well. Like um, one thing that I talk about on the show a lot, Patrick, is that like one of the consequences of the creation of a racial hierarchy and creating a
Uh-huh.
society based on it is that people have lost some of their agency and they're unaware that they've lost it. And one of the things that I want to do with this show and, you know, with some of the live events I'm creating is try to help people get some of it back. Um,
Sure.
it may be true, as I mean, it 100% is true, as you said, that, you know, we have power over virtually nothing. Um, but you know, what we do have power over is our own decision making, our own choices. But like race, like has like we could choose to let a thought pass by us, or we could choose to focus on that thought. You know, like we can, you know, I chose to go to work today. You know, I we make these little choices. Those are all exhibitions of like power, our decision making. You know, I'm not saying that decision making has any in terms of the impact the decision making has. It's cause and effect.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
whatever happens is just whatever happened because you did it. You know, not because like your intentions are totally meaningless. So like so like we're on the same page. I feel like in terms of how we think
Yeah.
about it, we're just saying different words a little bit. But like yeah,
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, definitely. I think that I just think I get very uh, suspicious when people use the power word, because I think that there's a great deal of emotional meaning that people put into it. And it's not that that's wrong. I just think that people prefer to use a word that suits their worldview. And so my worldview, simply put, is that we have so little, to use your word, power, that it makes no sense to even have the emotional connotation to it unless you're just talking about your lived experience. Then whatever emotions are going on, great, totally, absolutely, for sure, all about it. But for me, I think more broadly speaking, my worldview is, in even the most impersonal way, like good luck is my life. I mean, the fact that I'm even alive is just a miracle for dozens and dozens of reasons.
I would say the exact. I have said the exact same thing about myself, brother. So I
Yeah.
fully
Yeah.
understand that.